The Logitech G203 Lightsync and Razer Viper Mini are two budget gaming mice which I reviewed recently. They're both $40 or £40, so I'm going to put them head to head and try and tell you guys which mouse I think you should buy. If you find this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, but obviously let's find out which is the better mouse. So guys, let's get into this. Unlike when I compared the Razer Viper Mini to the SteelSeries Rival 3, there are actually some big differences in the shape between these two mice. So they're both semi-ambidextrous mice since the thumb buttons are only on the left hand side, and they're both very small. So the Razer Viper Mini is about 1.7mm longer at 118.3mm, however it is 8.6mm thinner than the G203, which is 62.15mm wide. And both mice have a height of just over 38mm. Because of this, those with very large hands may struggle with these mice. However, I know some people with larger hands do like a smaller mouse, but just bear in mind if your hands are particularly big, these mice are tiny. Razer say their mouse is only designed for claw and fingertip grip, whereas Logitech does not specify. However, I feel both mice fit this category. If you're a palm user, I wouldn't get either of these mice. However, if you do have very small hands, I feel like you can palm the Logitech G203 with relative ease. So if you have to get one of these two and you're a palm user, as long as your hands are small, I think you can comfortably get away with the G203. For claw and fingertip grip, it's unfortunately impossible to tell which mouse you prefer unless you get to try them both out. For a bit of comparison, my hands are 17cm by 8.5cm, and I think the G203 is the better mouse of fingertip grip because of its less aggressive curves just made it feel like you're much more in control of it, whereas the Razer Viper Mini I feel was the better mouse for claw grip. Clearly both these mice are good for both grips. I really couldn't get comfortable with claw grip on the G203, however Logitech have made multiple generations of this mouse, so clearly it's got something good going for it. So I can't really say which one has the better shape for claw and fingertip grip. Both these mice are on the lighter side, however the Razer Viper Mini is 24 grams lighter at just 61 grams, whereas the G203 at 85 grams does feel noticeably heavier, and for that reason I think a lot of people who like a light mouse will really prefer the Razer Viper Mini, and it makes a personal favourite for me, and therefore I think undeniably it wins in this category. So far I'd say the Razer Viper Mini is ahead because of its lighter weight and no shape being much better than the other. However, what sets the Razer Viper Mini behind and puts the Logitech G203 back into competition is the sensor. So as you can see in my individual reviews, the Logitech G203 only tracks up to a height of 3 playing cards, whereas the Razer Viper Mini tracks up to a height of 7, which is more than double. So while both sensors did feel responsive, accurate and precise, and from that front I couldn't tell a difference as a normal human and a normal person playing games, there is a big difference with that lift-off distance. I experienced more cursor jiggle when readjusting the Razer Viper Mini, which yes, it was compensated for a little bit by its low weight, making it easier. It is a noticeable difference, so from a sensor standpoint, the G203 is definitely well ahead. The primary mouse clicks on these mice were very strong points in both my individual reviews. Both are responsive and took the right amount of force to press. If I had to pick one, testing them side by side, I'd say the ones on the G203 feel a little bit higher quality and are made of a little bit lighter material, something like that. However, I can't really put my finger onto why I think they're a little bit better, so just take that with a grain of salt. For those of you who are interested, here's a sound test of the clicks on the Razer Viper Mini and the G203 Lightsync. The side buttons on both mice were good. So on the G203 they do stick out a bit more, have a gap in the middle and they were just a bit more defined. Whereas on the Viper Mini, they're a bit more flush with the mouse, have no gap, and they're a little bit bigger. Initially, that made it easier to use the ones on the G203 as they were easier to find while I was getting used to the mouse. However, once I got used to both these mice, I had no preference in between them. Both took a good amount of force to press and were easy enough to use. Here's a little sound test for those of you who are interested of the side buttons on the G203 and Razer Viper Mini. It is also worth mentioning that both these mice have a DPI changing button behind the scroll wheel, which can be reprogrammed to anything you want in software. The scroll wheels on both these mice were good, they both had a rubber feel to them and scrolled distinctly between each tick. Neither mouse performed much better than the other. However, if I had to pick a favourite, it would once again be the G203. Something about it just felt that little bit extra high quality. In my other comparisons, I haven't really bothered talking about the cable and feet of the mouse because you can just look at the individual reviews and there wasn't really much different between them, so it wasn't worth the time. However, there are some significant differences here, at least in my opinion. So with the cable first, the Viper Mini comes with a braided cable, Razer SpeedFlex cable. It was a really nice cable, it was very flexible and very nice to use. Whereas the G203 only comes with a rubber cable, which obviously doesn't look as nice, however it was good enough quality. However, that does mean the Viper Mini is well ahead with the cable. As for the feet, the Razer Viper Mini has two large feet on the bottom of the mouse, whereas the G203 just has a small foot in each corner. This meant that although they did glide across the mouse pad well, the Viper Mini just did a better job in my opinion, and it really complemented the lightweight having the extra surface area on the feet. So for the feet and cable, it does put the Razer Viper Mini back into the competition again, as it wins in this category by a mile. Finally, for the lighting and software, the G203 clearly wins. It's called the G203 Lightsync. It's got 3 RGB zones and it looks really good, allows you to create lots of cool effects. They're very vibrant and look good. Whereas on the Viper Mini, yeah, you get the nice underglow bit, but it's just a single RGB zone, so you can only have one colour, and sure, there's lots of effects in Razer's software. However, like I said, it's just one colour, you can't do a lot with it, so it is a bit boring. Therefore, the G203 wins in the lighting department. Just to quickly mention, neither piece of software was harder to use than the other. Both are free and easy to download, and you can easily change the effects, macros, all sorts of custom things, and reprogram all 6 buttons on the mice. As with my other comparisons, I want to give a verdict in which I give everybody a mouse which I think would be better for them. If you don't quite know which mouse would be better for you and you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I read them all, reply to as many as I can, and I'll do my best to help you guys decide which mouse is better for you. So to get it out of the way, if you use palm grip, try avoid either of these mice. However, go for the G203 if you've got small hands. I feel like its shape just suited palm grip better. For claw and fingertip grip, it is a bit more difficult. Obviously, from the start of the video, you know my preference is fingertip with the G203 and claw grip with the Viper Mini. That being said, neither one is better than the other, and that's why you're going to have to base your decision off the other factors. So, obviously, if you like a light mouse, weight is a huge pull for the Viper Mini. It's 61 grams, 24 grams lighter, feels a lot more agile, nimble and easy to use, and I do really prefer it for that reason. However, if weight isn't that important to you, or you do like a little bit more weight to your mouse, then the G203 has a better sensor and overall a higher quality feel, apart from, like I said, the cable. Finally, it is worth mentioning that the lighting on the G203 does look a lot better. So if you're undecided, you don't know which one to buy, you think, they'll both be the same for me, then go with the G203 and you've got a better looking mouse that you can customise in more ways. Hopefully from this video you know which mouse is better for you and if you should buy either of them. If you do, leave a like and even consider subscribing to the channel. If not, leave a comment and I'll do my best to help you out. Obviously, I look great in my Techify merch, so you can go to techify.co.uk/merch. Really helps support the channel and lets me keep making videos. Speaking of which, you can watch some of our other videos or just follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for watching and I will see you next time.